Thank you for joining us here on the NPTE Final Frontier Podcast. My name is Dr. David Friedberg.
And my name is Dr. Emily Gerby. Today, we will be discussing networking tips for an introvert. For some people, networking can be very intimidating, especially in healthcare or academic settings, like conferences, for example. So, on this episode, we will be providing you with tips that will help you work on this. So, let's dive right in. And I'm going to give you the first tip. It's start small. When you know there's going to be someone that you want to connect with at networking events or conferences, one of the best things you can do to get more comfortable is to start at smaller, more local events, such as APTA events for your district before going right to CSM, the national conference, or maybe joining online groups where you feel a little bit more comfortable. Having some smaller, low pressure interactions are a great way to ease yourself into networking, to get yourself more comfortable. Or if you're going right to one of these bigger scale conferences, which is also totally fine, maybe when you're at these bigger scale conferences, go to some of the smaller events within that bigger conference before trying to go right to one of the larger scale meetings, especially if there's someone you want to try to connect with to kind of promote some of these relationships.
Now, also something that's very beneficial is leveraging your clinicals. So a lot of you worked in the clinicals, you've had your clinical rotations, maybe you've worked in a clinic or you've owned a clinic already, but you don't know how to really go about those networking styles. Guess what? Those people that you've been in the clinicals with, utilize them too, leverage them for your advantage. Not even in a way where you're going to be getting ahead without them, but you can always take them along with you and introduce them to people that you meet. But leverage them because you never know whether it is your clinical instructor, maybe it is a professor, or maybe it's a coworker. You can help utilize their connections and make that your own connections. Such as if I worked with Emily and Emily said that she knew this person at this conference, guess what? Maybe I'm going to reach out to Emily and say, hey, can you introduce me to this person? This way, when we're at the conference, we can go and we could actually talk to that person. Or maybe she may want to connect me with them ahead of time, so this way at the conference, I can connect over there. But it's always very important when you're in your clinical rotations, you want to have a genuine interest, ask questions, and build that kind of rapport that you want to continue to carry over. But don't just let it go.
To piggyback off of David a little bit there, and I'm sure David will agree when I say this, the world of physical therapy is small. You would be surprised how many connections there are within the people you already know. So, like David said, use some of these connections you've already established, maybe through your clinical rotations or other areas of, the physical therapy profession as well. But I can guarantee someone you know knows somebody who knows somebody somewhere down the line. So make sure you can also use those connections to help you as well. Now, to go off of that, another tip is crafting the message. So, what I mean by that, if you are someone who maybe are a little introverted and it can be hard for you to just go right up to somebody in person at a conference, consider sending an email or a direct message through LinkedIn or other social media platforms. The power of social media is strong. So making sure you craft that professional message and maybe reach out to them via those online parameters first to establish a rapport with someone to help build that confidence and make your presence known. And then maybe try to meet up with them in person at a conference if the opportunity presents itself is a great way to also get yourself out there through social media, through email. That's another great way to build connections and relationships.
Yeah, and also don't do it alone. You don't have to go to these conferences or work a room on yourself by yourself. Just like I mentioned before, maybe I want to take Emily with me to some of these different rooms and meet different people. It is always beneficial where if you don't really like talking to people or you don't know how to talk to people, bring somebody with you. This way, if you start to fall behind in a conversation, or maybe you lose track of a conversation, you can always have somebody by your side to help you keep engaged, but also help you continue on that conversation with that person that you maybe want to network with. So don't go it alone. And you never know who you want to be going it with. So keep it open. Could be a coworker, could be that professor. Whoever it is, you have your options. Don't go it alone.
Yes, definitely don't go at it alone, but to go off of that as well, it's great to have a friend, a classmate, a coworker there with you, especially if you're someone who's a little bit more introverted. But you also want to make sure your own voice is heard as well when you're meeting with people. So try to make sure you're not hiding behind the person you're there with. You know, talk with them, don't talk over them necessarily, but you also want to make sure your presence is known as well. And after you've made your presence known, another really important thing to do is follow up. You want to make sure you're following up with some of these connections you've built. A polite, simple message expressing gratitude or checking in keeps those connections alive without really feeling awkward about it. So make sure after you've met with anybody, you try to get their social media handles, their email, phone number, whatever resource they like to provide people with when they're building connections, and then follow up with them after you have established that connection to make sure they don't forget about your time together.
And now also turn those initial networking moments into meaningful connections by showing consistent interest, offering value, and engaging beyond that conference. So stay in touch with them and make it meaningful. But if you're at a future conference and want to network with Emily, myself, or anybody at Final Frontier, come on over and say hi. Now that you heard our episode of this podcast, here's a quote from Tom Peters. Networking is about making meaningful, authentic connections, not just collecting contacts. So make it meaningful and go network. You are powerful. You are strong. You are a Final Frontier warrior. You will pass.
Thank you very much for listening. For more information on Final Frontier, please visit npteff.com. You can also check out all of our social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and X.
Till next time, have a great day and a powerful tomorrow.